Morning, everyone. It's Glenn Kellaway coming to you from the basement. I watched a video with Lionel Richie the other day. It might have been that answering the 10 questions for Richard McCook. And he said he really hated it when people, big heads, were so close to the camera. So I just wanted to say hi to Richie. Okay, that's it. This is an interesting video. Our friend Stephen Schnee, if you're not a subscriber to Stephen's channel, do so. He's got a great channel, and he's a cool guy to top it off. And he came up with this thing, the Holy Trinity Challenge, where you're supposed to name a band, artist that had the Holy Trinity, like 3 consecutive albums. Now, the rules are the band or artist had to have released at least 5 studio albums. So a band like Cream or Jimi Hendrix wouldn't be, well, maybe Cream, I'm not sure. Jimi Hendrix Experience is a good example that you couldn't use. No greatest hits, no live albums, and you can't include, like, if an artist, one of the band members went off and made a solo album, and within those 3, you can't do that either. So it's just studio albums from the band or artist. I've come up with 10. My friend Larry Graves came up with 10 and ranked them. I'm stealing his idea. I'm going to rank my top 10. So here it goes. Number 10, Chicago. Chicago Transit Authority. Frickin' amazing debut album. One of the great debut albums of all time. Mind-blowing at the time. Just different, you know, with the brass and everything. They were way better than Blood, Sweat, and Tears in those days. You wouldn't think they could top an album like this. I think this is better. Chicago 2. We were on a live chat on Larry's channel on Sunday, and someone asked for take 3 albums to a desert island, and Larry mentioned, he'd take all double albums, so I jumped on that, and one of the ones I picked was Chicago 2, and Larry laughed at me, but I seriously would take this album. It's incredible from start to finish. Wouldn't change a note. And Chicago 3 is a pretty damn good album. Somebody turned me on to this album. I didn't really want to listen to Chicago after the first 2 albums, but this one's pretty good. I'm trying to think of the hit off of this. There was one, I thought. Maybe not. But anyway, it's a really good third album from Chicago. After that, I've lost track of them. I hear 4 and 5 are pretty good. I'm kind of looking for them on vinyl or CD. I'll pick them up because I do love Chicago. Number 9, Uriah Heep, one of my favorite heavy rock bands of all time. My favorite Heep album, Salisbury. The song Salisbury is one of my top 10 songs of all time. Great record. Then they follow up with this incredible record, Look at Yourself. Oh my God. I'm mixing CDs and albums up here because sometimes I only had 2 of the 3 on vinyl or 2 on CD and 1 on, so I grouped them together if I was missing one. Look at Yourself. What a great album with July Morning, the title song, Look at Yourself. It's an amazing record. And of course, I think their best loved record, Demons and Wizards. Not a bad song on this thing, man. The Wizard, of course, everybody knows it's a staple. And yeah, it's just incredible. Incredible. Okay, number 8 is, Mr. Graves showed this too. I think he ranked it a lot higher than I did, but all these top 10s are great. Elvis Costello. His first 3 albums are just amazing. Pretty much every song on every album. Great song. Allison's on here, Watching the Detectives. You know who does a great version of Allison? Acoustic version? My girl, Lydia Lovelace. You got to check her version out of Allison. Okay, that one. Then he followed that up with this incredible record, this year's model, with radio on it, and just, yeah, amazing. And then my favorite Elvis Costello album follows Armed Forces with Oliver's Army, my favorite Elvis Costello song. What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding is on this. Freaking great album. Okay, number 7. We are going with Mr. Bowie, the Berlin Trilogy. You could pick any, like, a consecutive 3 album releases with Bowie almost through his whole entire career and make up a good argument. But these are my favorites. First, Low, which is my favorite David Bowie album. Heroes, which might be my second favorite David Bowie album. And Lodger, which isn't my third favorite David Bowie album, but it's really freaking good. So, Mr. Bowie, I'm sure a lot of people would pick the Ziggy Stardust, Aladdin Sane, that era, which is fine. Okay, that's number 7. Number 6, I think this might have been Larry's number 1, but he didn't pick the same albums as me. Yes. No, Sparks was his number 1. Yes, the Yes album. Steve Howe's introduction to the band. This is when they really took off. Figured it all out. The amazing Close to the Edge, an absolute masterpiece. And followed up with Fragile, with Roundabout on it. And, yeah, man. Boy, talk about a prolific period for a band. Next, we are going with number 5. And I'm going with The Who. How about Tommy? 1968. Who's Next? One of the great rock albums of all time. And my favorite Who album, Quadrophenia. What a run of records. Pete Townsend was just, man, was he prolific back then? Okay. Number 4 on our hit parade, The Stones. I don't have Let It Bleed on vinyl. Bugs me I don't have it. Let It Bleed, Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street. This could be number 1, this series. Talk about the Stones' great era. Oh my God. Wow. That's incredible. Okay, we're down to the top 3. Number 3, the band that's become one of my favorite bands ever, XTC, Drums and Wires. The incredible Black Sea, the album that really made me fall in love with XTC, and the album that sealed the deal and is one of my top 10 albums of all time now, English Settlement. Stephen Snee used these 3 albums as an example of how to do the challenge. So as soon as he did that, I went, hey, I'm going to be doing that one. Number 3, very high up. Number 2, no Beatles? Sure there are Beatles. Rubber Soul, Revolver, and the greatest album of all time, Sgt. Pepper. That's number 2. What's number 1? What could it be? If the Beatles are number 2, what the hell could beat it? The most prolific songwriting in a short period of time in the history of the world, Mr. Bob Dylan. How could anybody have written the songs on these 3 albums in 18 months? Beyond me. Bringing It All Back Home, Highway 61, and my favorite, Blonde on Blonde. I mean, come on, geez, what? The depth of this writing and the short amount of time he did it is just mind-blowing. That's it. Please subscribe to Stephen Schnee's channel. You'll see his name down in the description below. Don't forget the Wednesday night chat. It's not Tuesdays anymore. It's Wednesdays, 8 p.m. on this channel. My good friends Sam St. John and Rob from Northern Revolutions. Tonight we've picked 10 of pretty much the most popular bands like Beatles, The Who, like just the who's who of music. And the idea is somebody comes down from like another planet or just as someone who has never listened to music before and mentions these 10 artists and says, turned me on to these artists, and we got 2 songs to do it. What 2 songs would you choose to influence someone into loving a band they've never heard before? And we're going to try that and see how it goes. So anyway, have a great day. Thank you so much. Thanks, Stephen, for having a great challenge, and we'll talk soon.